Switzerland's deepest, darkest secrets revealed, all 300,000 of them now and yesterday, as we journey into underground worlds. For more from our new and exclusive series.
How does the world's most peaceful nation explain its obsession with nuclear bunkers?
This is the Swiss concept. We have chocolate, the Alps, and we have our bunkers.
Digging beneath a British city, what brought these volunteers to a state of ecstasy?
We found this arch from above. There was screams of joy. We're in! We found it! We found it!
And how did Slovenia's young adventurers strike gold in a disused lead mine?
This is the only underground kayaking route in the world. It's pretty special to come here. You never know what to expect.
Beneath our feet lie extraordinary spaces, caves, and tunnels.
The span and the size is just crazy.
They've been designed and built by us.
This is the only one with a castle.
As well as formed by nature. But how were they created and adapted? By who and why?
You've got to face your fears.
Throughout history, subterranean life has captured our imagination.
I feel so privileged.
We're going further and deeper to unearth the mysteries, the stories, and the secrets of underground worlds. Liverpool, the historic and powerful trading port in the northwest of England. Iconic buildings line the waterfront of a city steeped in maritime history. In the east of the city, beneath the streets of Edge Hill, lies an underground world that's shrouded in mystery.
Like the span and the size is just crazy.
But how did it get here?
Finally reached the bottom and found ourselves 60 feet below ground.
And who built it?
He was so secretive, burrowing away for 35 years.
A group of determined volunteers are slowly revealing this extraordinary creation in a search for answers.
Keeps us going, it's a good hobby. Mad, aren't we?
For 20 years, volunteer coordinator Chris Isles has been fascinated with the labyrinth of tunnels built by 19th century businessman Joseph Williamson.
Well, I've always been interested in underground spaces, man-made especially, and I've always been aware of the local legend of Joseph Williamson and his tunnels at Edge Hill.
Joseph Williamson was a tobacco merchant and landowner during the Georgian era. He moved to Liverpool in 1805.
People called him the King of Edge Hill or even the Mole of Edge Hill, and I remember being intrigued by it and wanting to know more. Joseph Williamson was in the tobacco industry. He married the boss's daughter, made a lot of money.
He basically inherited the company and became a very rich man.
David Bridson of the Heritage Centre has researched the full extent of Joseph Williamson's wealth.
So he was able to retire at the age of 49 with something like £400,000 in the bank. Now, we've seen various estimates of how much that would be worth today, but anything from 25 up to £50 million. And he then spent the rest of his life paying men using that money to build these tunnels and build the houses on top.
In 1805, Joseph Williamson bought up an area of land that was uninhabitable because it was an abandoned quarry.
The land around here had been quarried out for sandstone as Liverpool grew and expanded. We'll never know what gave Williamson the idea, but he hit upon this seemingly crazy idea of roofing them over.
In effect, Williamson reclaimed abandoned land. He had pillars and tunnels built into the quarry, lined them with bricks, and built streets and houses over the top. But no map was ever left to show what was now sealed underground.
So we have these beautiful brick and sandstone vaults, all sorts of sizes from a few inches across up to this one at 25 feet, all purely to reclaim the quarry workings and create usable land in the Edge Hill area.
Nothing remains of the properties Williamson built, apart from the facade of his great house. After he died in 1840, the caverns grew derelict and were filled in with earth and building waste.
We knew of the existence of the chambers beneath the buildings that were above.
In 1995, the tunnels were rediscovered by a group of amateurs, one of whom was Chris Isles.
We dug down and we found this arch from above and smashed through there. There was screams of joy. We're in! We found it! We found it!
It was the start of an amazing project. But the enthusiasts soon faced their biggest challenge. Williamson's long-lost tunnels had been filled in with a mixture of rubble and junk dumped by the Victorians, which needed clearing out.
Glass bottles, jars, you name it, it's down here. It had been used as a Victorian tip.
The enthusiasts had no idea how deep the tunnels were, and with no surviving map, no idea of how far they ran, it took them 10 long years to win permission from local authorities to excavate them. But Chris's colleague Tom Stapleton remembers clearly the day they started to dig.
We had the first skip delivered on site on the 18th of November, I think it was, 2012. And we spent 4 solid years emptying this place out until we finally reached the bottom and found ourselves 60 feet below ground. There was spoil piled right up to the roof, virtually, to the end of that chamber. You couldn't have climbed over the top of it, and we had no idea what was beyond.
In among the spoils, the volunteers were excited to discover treasures from the Victorian and Edwardian eras.
One of the things I always pick on is that little mug there. It's definitely a coronation mug because it says 1902 on it. That we know would be the coronation of Edward VII. And one day somebody chose to clean it out for some reason and found there was something in the bottom. We didn't know what it was. And for no apparent reason, somebody thought to hold it up to the light. And that's what appeared. That is King Edward VII, and is embossed into the china clay before the pottery's been fired. Since found out that it's called lithophane work. It's a rather nice little thing, and it always terrifies me every time I pick it up, in case I'm the one who drops it.
Though the excavation is still underway, so far the team has discovered around 3 kilometers of tunnels with 3 access points. But there is still so much to discover about why some of the brickwork is even here.
This is the Arch to Nowhere. We call it the Arch to Nowhere because essentially as you come in you think, oh, it's a tunnel entrance going off to the left. But in reality it's not. I wonder whether it might have been a practice piece for apprentices, or maybe there was going to be another tunnel going off into the quarry wall. But for whatever reason, it never happened.
Joseph Williamson was highly secretive about the tunnels. And why were these underground spaces created with so much meticulous brickwork?
There is a lot of mystery to Williamson because Williamson, as far as we know, never left any paperwork to say why exactly he did what he did.
He was so secretive.
Yeah.
He didn't boast about what he was doing. He didn't talk to many people about what he was up to. It was just him and the men who worked for him, burrowing away for 35 years.
In the early 19th century, the UK was rife with unemployment. Some people in Liverpool believed that Williamson acted out of a spirit of philanthropy, offering work to men in need of a job.
Through Williamson and his tunnels, they were able to gain meaningful employment. They were able to take a wage home. They kept their pride. They were able to feed and clothe their families.
As the excavation continued deeper, the brick vaulting gave way to the raw rock face of the original quarry, which showed the sandstone was laboriously cut by hand.
You can see in certain places where the men have been hacking out with the hammer and chisel. And you can see it goes in different directions. That could be somebody who was left or right-handed doing the different angle.
It took the volunteers 4 years to clear out the northern section of the tunnels beneath an area known as Paddington. In 2016, they reached the bottom.
I'm standing at about 60 feet below ground level here. By the time we finished, it felt like a brilliant achievement to have emptied this place out. At the same time, for all of us, there was a serious disappointment that we didn't find any tunnels leading off this, which we hoped would have connected up with the rest of the Williamson Tunnels system.
But their disappointment was short-lived. Just around the corner stand the remains of the house where Williamson lived with his wife, Elizabeth. The volunteers have made some tantalizing discoveries beneath it.
This is Williamson's house, or what's left of Williamson's house. It's the last remaining above-ground structure that was built by Williamson that we know of.
We've been uncovering what's below ground because there's nothing left above ground to be seen.
Well, I think the thing that I found interesting was finding the 4 fireplaces complete with their ranges, and of course finding stone-carved skirting board as well, which shows that you are inside his house.
Beneath the cellar, they discovered a great void. No one knows what it was used for, but the volunteers have given it a nickname.
This is the banqueting hall. Williamson's had his men quarry out all the stone from this chamber. He's used the stone for building, and then he's vaulted over it with this lovely brick archway, and then he's built his own 3-storey house right on top of it.
Each week, around 20 volunteers work here across the site. One of them is a recent arrival to Liverpool, an American, Caitlin McGann.
It started because I was like, oh, it's just archaeology I can go do, but now it's just like, this is my favorite place. These people are like family, so it's just kind of like coming to hang out every Sunday and Wednesday with all my friends digging in tunnels. The first time I went down there, it was just dirt. There was just dirt everywhere. That's all it was. There was nothing else. And then each time I went down, it was just like, whoa, like the walls are starting to show up. And then we were like, we found the floor. And then we were like, there isn't a floor because now we have this new tunnel coming out. And so every time it's just like this, like the span and the size is just crazy.
The newest area of the tunnels to be discovered was found behind a brick wall. Volunteers on their hands and knees with buckets and shovels are here today to remove more soil.
We've just come along to try and uncover the mystery of why he did them, why he dug them, and where they go to. So it keeps us digging. Every weekend or every week I'm here, there's always something new to find. Because he's left no plans, there's no designs. This is the only part of his house that's still standing. And we're here most weeks, and it keeps us going. It's a good hobby. Mad, aren't we?
Well, I think we're in the start of a much bigger tunnel. But at the moment, we're right up in the roof of it. If this is the big tunnel, there may be another 35 foot to go down here.
Without the hard work of the volunteers, these tunnels and their intricate arches may have never been discovered.
It's incredibly rewarding working on this. The tunnels are so unique.
We just want to see as many of these tunnels as possible made accessible for the people of Liverpool and everybody from all over the world to come and view them.
It's incredibly important to carry this on.
Unearthing these phenomenal tunnels, the volunteers have opened the door to another world.
Each week I come, we don't know what we're gonna find. We could find a new tunnel. We could find a new bricked in area of a room with tons of finds in it. You just never know, so that's what's so exciting. There's a lot going on, a lot more to find.
We sometimes joke that somewhere buried there is a big trunk full of all of Williamson's papers. But at the same time, it's the fact that we have so little information that's so intriguing. And I think for most of us, it's what drives us on to keep looking for answers.
The enthusiasts working hard underground to discover the truth, and the citizens of Liverpool above them, may never really understand the enigma of Joseph Williamson and his tunnels.